The United States military is sitting on thousands of high-quality videos and radar data of objects that should not exist. These craft appear around nuclear weapon sites, demonstrate flight characteristics that violate known physics, and according to one of the most credible researchers in the field, they may not be extraterrestrial at all. Investigative journalist Michael Schellenberger, who has testified before Congress on government deception, now says we are facing something with a spiritual dimension that scientists cannot explain and that powerful institutions are desperately trying to hide. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find all the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologers, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. Schellenberger recently sat down with Tucker Carlson to discuss the scale of what is being concealed from the public, and his assessment is not based on fringe theories or anomalous sources. It comes from documented testimony, classified documents he has reviewed, and patterns that span decades.
That's information that belongs to all of us. And if there's some evidence of non-human intelligence, my understanding, I'm very confident that there are thousands of high-quality videos, photos, sensor data, radar data, a lot that the military is keeping from us and the CIA is keeping from us. And we should be really upset about that. And I think that for me, I think that there's just been a lot of conversations where people go around and round about with the data that we know, but what we're missing is the fact that the government is sitting on so much more of it, and I find myself wanting to do more to force it out.
For decades, the public discussion about UFOs has centered around the extraterrestrial hypothesis, the idea that these craft come from distant planets, piloted by advanced civilizations exploring our world. But Schellenberger points out to a growing body of research that suggests something entirely different. He highlights the work of pioneer researcher Dr. Jacques Vallée, and Vallée has spent over 50 years documenting UAP encounters, and his conclusion challenges materialist assumptions that these phenomena exhibit characteristics consistent with spiritual or interdimensional entities, not physical spacecraft. And Schellenberger describes Vallée as moving in a similar direction to Tucker Carlson's own research, suggesting that what we are witnessing may involve dimensions of reality that Western science refuses to acknowledge. According to Vallée's research, UAP encounters share striking parallels with historical accounts of encounters with entities described in religious and folklore traditions, beings that were once called angels, demons, or fairies, depending on the culture. And Schellenberger describes a specific case that illustrates why this spiritual interpretation matters.
Which is my favorite is this English woman in the countryside who had a UFO sighting in the 50s. And she describes seeing, she's like a very working class English woman. It's a beautiful interview with her. It's like BBC or somebody, and they just describe what you saw. She said she hears this noise. Her two boys are in the front yard. She sees a huge UFO over her house. He asked her to describe it, and she said, "What can I say? It was like a Mexican hat, like a typical, flying saucer with a dome." Her kids were there seeing it. She swears she saw it. She says there was two people inside, and they were beautiful people with long blonde hair and sort of slightly bigger foreheads, and sort of looking at her.
He was referencing to the Jesse Rosenberg case that took place October 21st, 1954 in Staffordshire, England. Here's a clip of the original interview.
And I slipped my jumper on and went outside to find my two sons lying flat on the ground in the garden in front of the house, shouting, "Mummy, Mummy, there's a flying saucer." Well, naturally, I just said, "Come on, don't be stupid. Come in the house." And automatically looked up to see this, all I can describe, this huge Mexican hat. It was stationary, this thing, and it was bright silver in colour, and it had a dome. It was tilted to sort of, I could see the occupants in it.
You saw people in it?
I saw people in it. There were two people in there. These people were beautiful people. That's the only way I can describe them.
If this sighting took place just decades before, it would have easily been interpreted as angels, or maybe even demons, depending on the perspective. But as we have progressed, and as our mentality has changed, we now see them as UFOs and extraterrestrials, but even that hypothesis is changing. Schellenberger has interviewed individuals experiencing severe mental illnesses, including methamphetamine-induced psychosis, which we'll get into a little bit later. But their descriptions are fragmented and filled with disconnected images. And this woman exhibits none of those characteristics. Her testimony was precise, grounded, and unwavering. So what did she see? Overall, the phenomena follows a documented pattern. They appear where nuclear technology is present. During Schellenberger's years working on nuclear energy policy, he encountered consistent reports of unidentified objects around nuclear facilities. The workers were often reluctant to discuss sightings publicly due to safety perception concerns. And he specifically cites the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant in California, but notes these objects have been documented at nuclear weapons facilities, test sites, and military bases where nuclear materials are stored or even transported. The National Aviation Reporting Center of Anomalous Phenomena, NARCAP, has documented over 3,500 pilot UAP sightings since 2001, many near sensitive military installations. And this raises a question. If these are spiritual entities, why are they focused on humanity's most destructive technology? Is this observation, interference, or a warning? The government's response to these phenomena has been consistent for over 70 years: denial, ridicule, and suppression. Schellenberger points to the CIA's Robertson panel from the 1950s, which documented that the government should actively debunk UAP reports and discredit those who investigate them. That policy, he argues, remains in effect today through organizations like AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, which he describes as functioning more as a deception operation than a genuine investigative body. You know who else has similar thoughts to that? Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who has called AARO a joke. Part of this decades-long ridicule campaign has been to dismiss all witnesses as unreliable, mentally unstable, or even delusional. But Schellenberger, who has extensive experience interviewing people in various mental states, explains why Jessie, the Englishwoman's testimony, stands apart from actual psychosis.
I even have I have homeless people who I've been interviewing that are meth-induced psychotic, and meth-induced psychosis, talking about aliens, and it's just a lot of word salad and garbled. It's like talking to somebody trying to explain a dream they had. It doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So I don't think she lied. I don't think she's capable. I think that most actors are bad actors. I don't think she's capable of having invented that and then persuading her children to lie with her. I think that she had that experience. I don't think she's psychotic. I don't really know if anybody knows if those beings come from a different planet, or they're interdimensional, or they're spiritual, or if they have some other form and they're just manifesting and hologramming like that. I don't know. But I think that the conversation, thanks to, again, people like you and Joe and others, has just widened so that we can see just what a big lie it's been that science has really properly accounted for reality.
Why would the government work so hard to suppress information about these encounters if they were simply misidentified aircraft or even weather balloons? Schellenberger notes that UAPs are one of only 2 topics he's covered that he finds genuinely frightening to investigate, not because of the subject matter itself, but because of the intensity of the institutional response when questions are raised. So what are they protecting? If you enjoy UFO news, updates, case studies, and interviews, and you will like this channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this episode with those you want to keep in the know with the latest UFO news. In late 2024, mysterious drone swarms appeared over New Jersey for weeks, prompting contradictory government explanations before officials largely went silent. Schellenberger's investigation revealed what authorities were not disclosing. These drone swarms have been appearing around U.S. military bases for an extended period, with particular concentration around locations where nuclear weapons or materials were present. When the White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby claimed authorities had evaluated approximately 3,000 drone sighting cases in just 24 hours, Schellenberger called this logistically impossible, a number designed to reassure rather than reflect reality. And the official explanation of hobbyist drones or misidentified aircraft didn't match the observed behavior. That some of these craft demonstrated flight characteristics consistent with UAP reports, including unusual propulsion, extreme maneuverability, and capabilities exceeding known technology.
But when the drones happened in New Jersey, well, we caught them in an open lie. I mean, they just said, John Kirby at one point said something like they had evaluated like 3,000 cases of drone sightings in like 48 hours, which is like absurd. There's no possibility they did it. And then we started looking, a set of people started looking, and you discover that, in fact, there's been these drone swarms around U.S. military bases. I mean, not a couple either. I mean, I think it was somewhere around 2 or 3 dozen military bases. And there's a lot of evidence that those drones are circling around those moments when there's nuclear weapons in the area.
And as you know, similar drone swarms have appeared over Denmark and surrounding countries. And this international pattern suggests the phenomenon extends beyond U.S. borders and is not simply a matter of domestic surveillance or hobbyist activity. The simultaneous appearance of these unexplained drone swarms in multiple countries, both exhibiting similar behaviors and targeting similar infrastructure, reinforces Schellenberger's assertion that officials are either unable or unwilling to provide truthful explanation about what is occurring in the skies above critical facilities worldwide. President Trump made statements suggesting he would release information about UAPs, and the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has indicated she wants transparency. But according to Schellenberger, the intelligence apparatus is resisting at every level.
President Trump made noises like he was going to reveal something, and Tulsi Gabbard just made some noises that she wanted to get to the bottom of it, but otherwise, Tucker, they just seem like it seems like they wanted Jeffrey Epstein, the UAP files.
I don't think there's any. And if you're wondering if there's a spiritual component to the whole thing, if it's about technology and I don't know, Martians,
right?
Probably not going to be this kind of response to it.
The evidence suggests we're dealing with something that does not fit into our materialistic framework. These are not simply machines from another planet. The patterns, the appearances at nuclear sites, the spiritual encounters documented across countries and centuries, the government's desperate suppression of information, all point to something that challenge our understanding of reality itself.
You couldn't talk about that in polite society, but I do think now we are able to have those conversations, and I do think it's really notable that at this political shift, there is, I think, a spiritual movement. I mean, I'm obviously really into it. Other people in my life are not as excited about it. But for me, I think these experiences, the evidence, the spiritual side of it, the government cover-up are just huge areas that we should be doing so much more research and investigations and journalism on.
If these are spiritual entities, if they are what ancient texts describe as demons or fallen angels manifesting in forms we can perceive, then the implications extend beyond technology or even national security. This becomes a question about the nature of the spiritual realms, humanity's place in the larger cosmic conflict, and why those in power are so determined to keep the knowledge hidden. Schellenberger is calling for full disclosure. He wants the thousands of videos, photos, and censored data released. He wants the redactions removed from classified documents. And he wants accountability for the decades of deception. But the deeper question remains. Are we ready to confront what information might reveal about the nature of reality, the existence of non-human intelligence, and the spiritual dimensions that we have been taught to dismiss? I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.